Welcome to Breaking Digital. This is Doyle Bueller. In today's episode, I'm talking with Robert Scoble, who's one of the largest technology and innovation speakers around the world and is known as the technology evangelist. And we actually had our conversation up in Montreal during the Startup Festival with all of the ensuing sound and energy from that festival that it brought. And we got into a lot of technology and innovation, but also how to make a difference between industries and technologies. And one of the most important things that he stressed was, how do businesses embrace disrupting technologies? And if you don't, as we've seen, a lot of them just get pushed under the rug. So we have to look at behaviors and how to actually do this and how not to get lost. And that was one of Robert's key messages as well. And more importantly, how to play as well with this technology to bring the innovation, to bring this disruption. So that's all coming up soon with Robert Scoble.
Overwhelmed with online or just wanting to learn more about how you can build a successful business amidst all of the self-appointed gurus, big buzzwords and empty promises? The Breaking Digital podcast by Doyle Bueller tells you exactly what smart entrepreneurs need to know to escape the clutter, get clear of the confusion, and pass the bullshit of building and growing a successful business online. It's about digital leadership and delivering the best value for your business online to your audience. Now, here's your host and author of the book on digital leadership and online marketing, The Digital Delusion, Doyle Bueller.
Yeah, cool. Well, thanks, Robert, for joining
Thanks.
me. I really appreciate it. I saw your presentation this morning. And I love sort of the disruption of technology and the businesses and that sort of thing. And where do you see things going from there?
That's a big question, because you almost have to break it into different things like cryptocurrency or self-driving cars, which is AI. And AI, like we were just talking about, one of the investors who's investing a lot in AI here in Montreal. It's everything from security cameras to natural language processing to seeing patterns in business to doing mixed reality glasses that are going to recognize this as a table, and that's coming in the next few months.
So do we are we maybe going a little bit too far with technology? How do businesses embrace that, engage this sort of bleeding edge technology that...
I don't think we're going far. We're going into a weird and scary for many people set of technologies, because it does stuff that is weird and scary. So if the first time you get a ride in a self-driving car, it's weird and scary. It's like, wait a second, nobody's driving this car, and it's driving down the street, and it's turning left, and it's stopping, and it's, if some kid jumps in front of the car stops. It's like, whoa, that is weird, And is that scary? Yes. Even for me, it took me several days of working with I have a Toyota with a front-facing radar in it that does radar-assisted cruise control, and just learning to trust that took hundreds of hours of experience, right? Of keeping my feet off the gas and the brake pedal and just letting it do its thing, and seeing that it actually would stop, and seeing it was better than me. And it certainly didn't get distracted or drunk or tired or any of that. So where I'm going with this is, if there's utility with technology, and there usually is, because why would somebody build something if there's not utility? It'll get people over the freaky line.
Right.
We wrote about this in our second book, The Freaky Line. It gets people over the freaky line. And it changes fast, right? 5 years ago, when Shell and I wrote that book, we interviewed the CEO of Ford Motor Company. And back then he said nobody would buy a self-driving car. Well, now I was in line for the new Tesla, and I interviewed 100 people who were first in line for the Model 3. And I asked them, why are you buying a car you haven't seen and you really have no clue about? In fact, I put $1,000 down a year ago, and I still haven't seen one of these cars, and I still really don't know what it does, or how much it's going to cost me, or what the feature set is, or what the color choices even are. But he still has my $1,000. Why? And the answers were interesting. A common answer was, I'll buy anything Elon Musk tells me to buy, which shows you the kind of belief that people have that he's going to build something that's cool. And another common answer was, I'm buying it because I want the best self-driving technology. Yet 5 years before, Ford said, we've done the surveys, we've done the research, nobody wants a self-driving car. Of course nobody wants a self-driving car because you haven't shown them a self-driving car yet and explained why it's better, right? And as the industry and the technology moves along, we get better at, first of all, the technology gets better where it's actually much better than a human. And we're getting better at showing the value of it and showing that it'll save your kid's life. You know?
So how do businesses like Ford and following in Tesla's footsteps, how do they actually embrace this new technology? Because you're creating and talking about disruptive technologies, and then it's the adaptation to that.
I think the first thing is you gotta have a mindset of, we're not gonna be afraid of new things, and we're gonna assume that the customers change their behavior. Right? And Henry Ford is the guy with the quote. He said, if I asked people what they wanted, they'd tell me a better horse-driven buggy, because that's what everybody had before Ford came on the market and made a car affordable for a lot of people, right? And so the really innovative companies, hell, Cemex is a cement company, really innovative. They're always looking for a better way to do things, and they're not afraid of trying something new, and not afraid of pushing forward on something that a lot of people find abhorrent, maybe even. Right? Try something new. See if there's something there, and see if people react to the new technology well and find a use for it.
So are you saying that businesses should just sit down and be innovative?
Yeah.
For innovation's sake? Or,
yeah. Otherwise you go out of business because somebody else will.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, if you were at Whole Foods 10 years ago, would you have ever thought that Amazon would end up buying you? No.
Oh, really?
No. So, why didn't they invest in online e-commerce systems? They still today don't really think about it, right? But Amazon does, and now Amazon's going to use Whole Foods to deliver food to us, right? And other things.
Do you think that we're kind of getting lost in some of that technology too?
I think it's moving on very quickly for a lot of people to grasp. Even here, this a crowd behind you of, I don't know, 1,000 people who are in the startup ecosystem, who are technology innovators and people who build companies and stuff like that. Only 3 of these people had a VR headset.
Yeah, I saw that.
That tells you that the technology is moving so fast that even these people, who are much more early adopter probably than the average person out here, is still not there, right? And there's a lot of reasons for that. It's expensive, it's nerdy, it's perceived to be only for gaming. That perception's wrong, but there is that perception. If you just read a couple articles on Facebook, it looks like, oh, this is a gaming thing, or it's something I don't need to do. It's not too spreadsheets, but go to Looker. Looker is a business system that Snap and Twilio and Uber run their business on. They built a VR thing to see a spreadsheet on a table, right, in 3D, so you can walk around and see a new pattern in the numbers, right? That's innovative thinking. It's like, don't be afraid of new technology. Find out if there's a way to use this new technology in your own existing business, right?
Without developing that specific technology, or sort of embracing and adopting that technology?
Well, first you have to get a VR headset.
Right, okay. Not saying develop a VR headset. Use it in your...
Yeah, at least, it costs $3,000, let's call it $2,000 to $3,000, although that price has come down. Like just today, just an hour ago, Facebook announced that they're coming out with a standalone VR headset for $200. Wow. So watch this crowd get that, because $200, everybody, I'll get a $200 headset, but it's $2,000. It's eating in my gadget budget for the new Tesla or something. Or the new iPhone that we're all gonna have to spend $1,000 on, or $1,000 to $1,400 on for the high-end one, which will do some mind-blowing things. So that's another example. The next iPhone is going to have a 3D sensor, so it sees this table with 2 million points of data as you move your phone around, right? And it has an OLED screen. It has better sharpness, better color, better brightness, better battery life, right? You're going to hear about that in September. What do you do with this? And some developers are getting the point that there's a new augmented reality platform in this new phone coming out. But a lot of people, even in the entrepreneurial community, haven't really started thinking about it because they don't have VR. They're not in the VR community. They're off doing their own thing, whether it's a startup that runs a travel business or a startup that does, food delivery or something,
Yeah, no, it's all...
It's hard to see how to get there to there,
It is, and that's what I wanted to ask you next is like how do, enterprises and corporations and even small business for that matter, what strategies would you suggest that they use to kind of understand that? It sounds like we have to understand the technology before we can implement it, but what would you recommend a business could do with it?
Somebody said, China hasn't been innovative up to now because their kids never got a chance to play in schools. Because the government thought you should just be learning math or whatever and not playing out in the playground. Where Americans, we play. We have playgrounds.
Yeah, everywhere.
I bet there's a playground within a mile of here, right?
Or more, or less.
And that's starting to change in China, and all of a sudden they're starting to become innovative, right? The 360 camera I have in my pocket. I don't know if that's somewhere. This 3 years ago, my 3D 360 camera was $6,000. Now this is $200, right? And this has
it fits right on that.
Yeah, it has motion stabilization. Thank you. Motion stabilization. That's pretty mind blowing. So let me see if I can show you this. So notice when I turn the camera, the horizon is staying.
Yeah.
It's not moving, right? Wow. So it's using the gyroscope in the phone. So this is a new capability that we got in the last 10 years, right? We didn't have gyroscopes in phones 10 years ago.
We did in fighter jets, but...
And it throws that number stream up to the camera, and then the camera reorients the balls of pixels around you in real time, right?
But what if you want it to move?
You can turn it off.
Technology.
You can turn it off. Now you can see it moves, right?
Okay.
Right.
That's where motion sickness.
Yeah. Turn it on. It's solid, right?
Oh,
so that's an example. That's software that was written by this camera company because they know they can't do much hardware for $200. If it's selling $200 retail, it costs $80 to make this, something like that, $70 to make this.
So when you say play, how do enterprise know what to play with? I guess like do they take their strengths? Do they take their strategies? Like what?
Start
do they find?
Start building a map of things that are starting to come on scene. Augmented reality, artificial intelligence, self-driving car, drones. Cryptocurrencies, right? There's a menu of things that are just coming on this year, and start experimenting with them. Take Friday afternoon and have a hackathon and say, hey, can we build something using a drone? Play, right? Even though it's not your company's thing, but all of a sudden you're playing with a drone or playing with AR, playing with cryptocurrency or playing with blockchain, and you're starting to rethink, wait a second, this is a crypto, blockchain. Bitcoin has underneath it a thing called blockchain, which is a decentralized ledger, which keeps track of all the transactions on a blockchain. Well, now companies are using that to do all sorts of stuff, right? The blockchain, not the currency. They don't care about the money part, but they care about the blockchain part of it. And there's people here in Canada. Last time I was in Toronto, I met with a guy who built Ethereum. He was 17 years old. He knew where the future was going. I didn't. I had to listen to that interview over and over just to understand what the hell he was saying, because he was so out in front. He's still, those ideas I heard 4 years ago are still, most people still don't have any clue what he's talking about. And that's part of it. You know, read a lot of tech, a lot of magazines, keep up to date. Come to conferences. That's why people come to conferences.
Just to learn more on what's out there.
And see what's on the bleeding edge right now, because conferences are good about finding, you know, people who write books or, you know, build expertise or build companies on the bleeding edge, and they always want something new to show, you know, so.
Yeah. And so can these companies then that sort of embrace that technology, play with it a little bit, can they disrupt their industry?
I think so, but now if you move innovation from just a little hackathon on Friday to, you know, hey, what if we put blockchain into our travel system? You know, how does that change travel planning? Whatever you're trying to disrupt, you know, whatever business. It's hard because there's always the innovator's dilemma. There's always the bean counters in the top of a company are like, what's this new thing? Like here's a good example. Augmented reality. I know in 5 years we're all wearing glasses.
Yeah.
It's very clear to me. Most business people, we'll worry about that tomorrow, right? And no way will I fund that because there's nobody. Look, there's nobody wearing glasses, augmented reality glasses right now. There's no market, so it's hard to get people to spend money on, and that's the problem. Is you got to have somebody at the top who's controlling the funding of companies to say, I'm going to put a couple dollars or a couple $1 million into building a new product in a new category and try it out. And that's really hard for companies to do. Clayton Christensen wrote a book called The Innovator's Dilemma. And his thinking is you actually have to spin that company out, let the company prove itself over 5 years, and then bring it back in. And Microsoft sort of did this with Xbox, right? Xbox stood for, what was the DirectX? DirectX was the API underneath video games on Windows. And they had a team that said, maybe we should take just that API and build a console gaming system for consumers. And that's why they called it an Xbox DirectX. It's the box with the DirectX inside, right?
Oh, wow.
You know? But they moved it away from the Windows team, so their headquarters was a couple miles away, so that the Windows team didn't know what was going on at Xbox. They couldn't go over there and mess with it, get involved. So that team could work over many years to build the product, build the marketing, build the story behind it, and build the partners, build the studios, and all that. Right? That was smart on Microsoft's behalf, but Microsoft and Google and Apple and Facebook are all companies built to innovate.
Exactly. Yeah, so they can innovate, they can disrupt. Can sort of your standard corporation do the same too, like depending on how their mindset, how they play?
I think so, but you have to have a corporate leadership team that's like, we are going to build things that'll disrupt us. In other words, rather than waiting for somebody like Uber to come along and kill our taxi company, we're going to build Uber first, and we'll take 2 or 3 smart guys and start building a company that can start getting talent and doing innovative things that will compete and maybe even crush the parent company someday, right? That's the right way to do it, but most people
We're scared.
We don't want to lose our jobs.
Is that because there's too many accountants?
No, it's humans. Humans don't like change. We like to do the same thing today as we did yesterday. We like to do the same job because we don't have to relearn. We don't have to get fired and rehired at somewhere new. Change is painful. It's the reason we call it disruption. it's disrupting. So. Ask any taxi driver how disruptive Uber was to their business. It's very disruptive.
They don't like it here in Montreal.
I guarantee you the people on the street like it because they can find that ride, right?
Absolutely. As a consumer, it's perfect.
Right?
Yeah. Cool. Last thing I want to talk about, you've got a new book, a recent book out?
It's called The Fourth Transformation, which is about augmented reality and artificial intelligence and how it's going to change everything. And coming in September, Apple's going to show you a new iPhone that does augmented reality. Now, where I'm thinking the world is going is glasses. because I've seen them. And you're going to see Magic Leap ship in December at SDK, and we'll see how that works. But Apple is the one in charge. Because
I've got that.
You have an iPhone?
Platform. I do. I've got two of them.
Michael over here has an iPhone. Most people in the tech, most rich people you find have iPhones, and most influencers have iPhones. Most people in the tech world or tech passion people have iPhones. So Apple is going to have 250 million people in October who can use the new augmented reality capabilities in the new iOS 11. So a lot of new capabilities are coming, and people are just starting to figure out what that does.
Okay. And you talk about how businesses can apply?
Absolutely. We have chapters on retail, how Sephora, for instance, is using augmented reality in today's app to do augmented reality makeup. So you can try pink lipstick on your face. It doesn't look good on me, by the way.
On me either.
But you can try it.
Okay.
And what's better is it's color matched and quality matched to the physical product. So if you actually bought pink lipstick and tried the real stuff, it looks exactly the same as the augmented stuff does on your face. And the stores are augmented too. So when you bring your iPhone in and start looking at signage, the signs will augment and show you more information about what you're looking at and stuff like that. So yeah, there's a good example. We cover how it's being used in factories. If there's a sensor in a pipe in an oil refinery, for instance, it'll show you the state of that sensor just by looking at it without touching it. And the bleeding edge is adding user interfaces to actually change the pump speed or whatever. If you can just use your finger, because it can see your finger and change how the oil refinery is working.
Your finger's pretty powerful.
And soon, what I showed here was Google, Facebook, and Apple all bought eye sensor companies. So in the next few years, you're going to see glasses with eye sensors. So you're going to be able to control something like that with your eyes.
Yeah, I saw that demo.
A whole new world is coming. So this is lots of opportunities for big companies to either behave stupidly like they usually do, or get on board and try something new. Some of PACCAR's using HoloLenses to save billions of dollars. So they make trucks. Boeing has hundreds of HoloLenses to teach people how to fix jet engines, and it's more accurate and fewer errors using augmented reality to fix a jet engine than trying to read a book and figure out how to fix a jet engine, because it actually shows you what to do on top of the jet engine. It's like, take those 5 screws out, open this door up, and it shows you right on top of the engine what the door will look like. Look for the pump, here's the pump, right? Unhook this fast, whatever it tells you. It tells you right on top of the machine. So this, what's coming, and I should have brought my HoloLens out here. It's the best education technology humans have ever invented. Wow. So we're going to be able to teach people anything, right? How to weld something, how to cook dinner with glasses on. Anthony Bourdain will jump on your kitchen counter and start teaching you how to cook dinner.
Can I get George to come?
Whatever you want.
That was brilliant. Yeah, cool. All right. Well, thank you very much, Robert.
Thanks.
I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Hopefully we'll be in touch. Thank you very much for listening to Breaking Digital, the podcast for smart entrepreneurs wanting to become true digital leaders in their industry and to own online. If you have any comments on the program, please feel free to connect on Twitter @DoyleBuehler with the hashtag #OwnOnline. I would really appreciate it if you could share this podcast with your network, as I'm sure they will get some value from it for building their successful business online as well. You can find the resources that we talked about, as well as the transcript and full podcast for download on thedigitaldelusion.com/podcast or on iTunes or on SoundCloud. I'm Doyle Buehler, and I will see you online.
Thank you for listening to Breaking Digital with Doyle Buehler. While he goes and makes a sandwich, you can find all of the notes, links, and details on this podcast by visiting thedigitaldelusion.com/podcast. Go on and click that now. www.thedigitaldelusion.com/podcast. I'll definitely click that. If you'd like a free copy of the book, The Digital Delusion, How to Overcome the Misguidance and Misinformation Online, just send an email to doyle@thedigitaldelusion.com. See you online.